fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The first time I felt him, it wasn't a gentle touch. It was a brand, a claiming, a wildfire that consumed everything I thought I knew. Even now, years later, the memory leaves me breathless, a tremor running deep beneath my skin, a phantom ache that settles just below my ribs. It's a strange sensation, longing mixed with a primal fear I haven't quite managed to unravel. I was barely more than a boy, really, still steeped in the scent of beeswax and old paper when the whispers started. The ancient power, they called it. It wasn't a gentle calling, not a soft invitation. It was a demand, echoing in the hollow spaces of the monastery library, a promise of power and something far more dangerous. I recall the scent of old books and dust in the library where I first heard the whispers, a smell that should have been comforting, scholarly. Instead, it clung to my skin, a constant reminder of the mysteries I was trying to uncover, the truths I wasn't sure I wanted to find. Years spent in hollow rituals, chanting prayers that felt increasingly empty, the scent of incense a poor mask for the predator I knew was watching, always watching, Azazel. The name itself was a weight on my tongue, a forbidden prayer, a blasphemy I dared to think in the dead of night. It tasted like ash and something metallic. I dreamt of him not as a savior, not as a benevolent deity, but as a force of nature, beautiful and utterly ruthless. A storm-given form. I imagined the heat of his touch, not warming but scorching, the way he'd break me, not with cruelty, but with a deliberate, almost artistic precision, and then reshape me into something else. Something stronger, something darker. The scent of sulfur and dark spices, cinnamon, clove, and something acrid I couldn't place, haunted my waking hours, a constant reminder of the darkness I craved. It was a shameful desire, a betrayal of everything I'd been taught, but I couldn't deny it. I wanted to be consumed, to lose myself in his power, even if it meant annihilation. The thought wasn't frightening, it was relieving. The darkness within me stirred, a beast awakening from a deep slumber. It wasn't a sudden jolt, but a slow, insidious growth, a tendril of shadow wrapping around my heart. I could feel its presence, a living, breathing entity that threatened to consume me whole, and a part of me welcomed it. I'd always felt incomplete, a vessel waiting to be filled, and Azazel, I suspected, was the only one who could fill it. Then came the ambush. It wasn't a grand confrontation, no dramatic clash of swords or magical energies. Just rough hands, the stench of decay clinging to damp cloth, the warehouse reeking of rot and something vaguely animalistic. I'd been lured there under false pretenses, a supposed delivery of ancient texts, foolish, naive, and there he was. Azazel, he didn't materialize in a burst of light or thunder. He simply was asterisk, standing in the shadows, radiating power like a furnace. His eyes, twin embers, locked onto mine, and the world seemed to tilt on its axis. They weren't cruel eyes, not exactly. They were knowing, ancient, and utterly, terrifyingly captivating. He didn't offer salvation, he offered ownership, a different kind of power, one that came with a price. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the silence, threatening to shatter my chest. I could feel the fear, cold and sharp, but it was laced with an undeniable excitement, a thrill of anticipation that made my skin prickle. It was a potent mix, one that left me lightheaded and breathless, my knees threatening to buckle. "You've been waiting for this," he said, his voice a low rasp that sent a shiver down my spine, a vibration that resonated deep within my bones. It wasn't a question, it was a statement, waiting to be claimed. He took a step closer, and I didn't flinch. I wanted him to close the distance. I wanted to feel his heat, his power, his darkness. I wanted to surrender. "I've been watching you, little priest," he continued, his voice dropping to a near whisper, "for a long time." His words were a gentle caress, a soft whisper that sent shivers down my spine, yet held the weight of centuries. I felt a surge of excitement, a thrill of fear. I was trapped, caught in the web of his gaze, and I didn't want to escape. The air was thick with tension, heavy with anticipation, almost suffocating. I could feel the weight of his gaze, the pressure of his presence pressing down on me, crushing me. And yet I wanted more. I wanted to be consumed, to be devoured. I wanted to lose myself in his power, to be remade in his image. The darkness within me stirred, a beast awakening from a deep slumber. It was hungry, ravenous, and it recognized its master. It wanted Azazel. I took a step forward, my heart pounding in my chest, each beat echoing in my ears. The sound of my own breathing was loud, ragged, a reminder that I was alive, that I was still human, but I didn't feel human. I felt like a creature, a beast, a monster waiting to be unleashed. And Azazel was my master, my lord, my god. "You're mine," he said, his voice a low growl that vibrated through the floor and up into my very core. "You've always been mine." I felt a surge of excitement, a thrill of fear, so intense it bordered on pain. I was his body and soul, and I knew with a chilling certainty that I would never be free. The thought was exhilarating, terrifying, and inevitable. I was trapped, caught in the web of his gaze, and I didn't want to escape. I wanted to be his, to belong to him, to be owned by him. The darkness within me stirred, a beast awakening from a deep slumber. It was hungry, ravenous, and it wanted Azazel. I reached out, my hand trembling, my fingers outstretched, yearning for contact. Azazel took it, his touch like a brand, searing hot against my skin. It was hot, burning, consuming, and I felt myself being pulled into his darkness, his power, his world. I was lost, consumed, devoured, and I knew that I would never be the same again. The world around me melted away, the warehouse dissolving into a swirling vortex of shadows, leaving only Azazel and I. We were alone, together, lost in our own private universe, bathed in the glow of his power. And in that moment I knew that I was his, body and soul. The darkness within me stirred, a beast awakening from a deep slumber. It was hungry, ravenous, and it wanted Azazel. I wanted Azazel, and I knew that I would never let him go.